All right. Daniel Forte here with Controlled Products. Here, happy to show the A1121 DoorBird Access Controller. We do have Zach Sarcone joining us to kind of run us through everything. We're excited here about this device. We've thought of some unique use cases, and maybe we'll go over them as time goes on. I do want to mention right now that currently at Controlled Products, we're running a 10% online promo. So if you're interested in the DoorBird products, we do have that running currently. And if you need a coupon code for it, because it is online, reach out to your local branch there. We are recording today, so this is the time, if you're not comfortable with that, to jump off. I'll let you go ahead. One thing I do want to mention actually before I pass it over to Zach is it's a 30-minute session, so please throw any questions you have in the chat, and we'll get to all of those at the end there. Right, Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, throw those questions in the chat. I've got some information to share about a new product, and then we'll answer anything that's burning. Great. So if you can see my screen here, I'll just go ahead and get started. Hi, I'm Zach with DoorBird, and we've got this cool little device here. This is the IP access control device. So you might know DoorBird for our AV components, door control, gate control, and we've been doing that really well for several years. CPSG has been a huge proponent in getting those out there, and I know a lot of people are really happy with those installed in many locations. But a lot of people over the years have asked, well, I don't necessarily need a camera, or I don't need the audio. I already have that installed. I have an extra gate or door that I want to be able to control, and for that reason, we started to develop a standalone keypad and RFID reader because there's a lot of demand for this. So I hope this is something that is relevant to you guys, and I hope this is something that you can utilize and see the value in. So this A1121 is a keypad and RFID reader with relay control, and it can connect to the network just like the rest of our devices. So the DoorBird environment, the DoorBird app is all at play here. You get all of that software power behind it as well. And, this is right at home paired with or sold with a DoorBird door station or on its own. That's really the beauty here, that it's standalone in that it does not need to be paired like a normal accessory. Okay, so the A1121 has a keypad on here. We're talking up to 500 different pin codes and 500 different RFID fobs. So quite a bit of large banks here to accommodate both residential and commercial use. The beautiful thing about having the software, the DoorBird software behind it, is that you're remotely managing all those credentials as well. So you're creating keypad pin codes, setting schedules on them all from the app. You don't have to be on site to do that. With the RFID reader, once you enroll those fobs, that has to be done physically in person, but once you enroll them, you can manage them remotely, setting schedules and things like that. We'll touch on that more in a moment. This keypad is backlit. You can have that light on or off, and it's got this RFID reader on here that does speak both 125 kilohertz and 13.56 megahertz credentials. And with all our products, you can use other fobs. You don't have to use DoorBird fobs. Yes, we do have our own. They're really nice and small and easy to use. But if you had something custom branded for a commercial property or something, you could use a third-party RFID card or fob, as long as it speaks these credentials, and you can enroll them the same way you would our fobs. So a little bit of flexibility there is nice. One thing that's newer for us is weigand output. I know this has been around for a long time, but it's something that we've been slower to adopt for security reasons. But weigand is here on this device. There's a weigand output supporting protocols 26, 30, 31, 34, and 44 bit. So on this device, there is a visitor history up to the most recent 60 entries used, whether that's RFID or keypad. But if you needed something more robust, that's where you could use this weigand output, and for any other use case you might see fit. Additionally, this device is the first of its kind in that it has a tamper sensor. So it's got an integrated tamper sensor that when it's being removed or opened up, it'll sound an alarm real time. So, you know, maybe something, it might be enough to deter a would-be burglar or someone who's trying to break in, just a nice extra feature. As with all our products, this is configurable with the DoorBird app. So, you know, you get your A1121 in the box, you open it up, you install it, you get it on the network, and then you have that QR code that comes in the box. And if you've never set up a DoorBird or installed one, it's important for me to touch on that they're extremely easy to set up on the network. So if you're not an IT expert or if you're not well versed in, you know, internet things, it's still very easy to install DoorBird products with the QR code. It's a piece of paper that comes in the box. You're going to use your phone to scan it. And once you download the DoorBird app, which is completely free, you're up and running within a few seconds. Realistically, maybe a minute or two, but it's super easy. It's very straight ahead. And the DoorBird app kind of walks you through the steps to do that. So I would say the physical installation is probably going to be the bulk of your time, but setting it up on the DoorBird app, very quick, very easy. And with our app, you can remotely manage this thing. So what does that really mean? Okay, so you've installed this A1121. Maybe it's at auxiliary pedestrian gate. You know, you've got your DoorBird at your auto gate, and you wanted this at your pedestrian gate. So you've installed that. You've connected to the network either through, you know, Cat 5, Cat 6. Maybe it's Wi-Fi. Maybe you use the Ubiquity bridge. It's getting data now. So you've connected it to the DoorBird app, and you can start to create PIN codes. You can start to swipe in some of those fobs. And then you as the installer, maybe you leave the property and you hand over that control to your homeowner. And now they go on vacation, but they need to give someone access to their home. They can create a PIN code, you know, from halfway around the world, as long as they're connected to the internet. They can create credentials, give those out. They can manage those credentials. They can set schedules on those credentials in 30-minute increments, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you're really getting a full scope access control solution here that gives you that remote configurability, remote management, all from the DoorBird app. It's really important to note here that the DoorBird app is completely free. So when you're buying this hardware, you're downloading the app for free. There are no licensing fees. There are no registration fees. You know, there's no tenant fees or anything like that. So what you see is what you get, you know, and I think they look pretty nice as well. So we have about 3 or 4 different colors available on these. We've got stainless steel, bronze, titanium. This is a RAL 7016. So if you have a discerning client in a residential format, or you have something different you're doing in a commercial format, we have you know, colors and finishes that are unique to meet those demands as well. So some common questions that come up with the A1121. Let's just go through that. This device does have 2 relays on it, so you can control doors or gates. You know, it always does come up in DoorBird environments. You know, how can I trigger the strike or the gate controller? We always try to have at least 1 in each device, and this device has 2, which is really nice. They're rated at about 24 volts and 1 amp, so it can handle most low voltage throughput in that regard. So can the A1121 be paired with IP video door stations? So no, they cannot. And I think that's one of the strengths here is that you do not have to have the D2101KV. You do not have to have the D1101KH in order to set this device up. It is standalone in that regard. Is it possible to pair the A1121 without peripherals? Yes. So that's a great question that comes up a lot is, okay, so this device has 2 relays. Well, what if I need more relays? What if I have a IPIO controller, our 1081, that's, you know, on the other side of my property, and I need to trigger those relays from this device? That's possible. So you can pair the A1081 with this A1121, which is really nice. So expands that relay set. It also helps you relocate relays for a safe and secure install. So giving you a lot of functionality and flexibility there. Does the A1121 support geofencing? Yes. So this device supports geofencing, so that way when someone approaches the device, If they're within a defined perimeter, it will automatically trigger the relay and unlock the door. So this could work for, even an auto gate. If you didn't need AV out there, but you wanted to approach and have that gate open, you could utilize the geofencing function for that. Does the A1121 support 125 kilohertz and 13.56 megahertz in parallel? So no, you have to choose one or the other. When you're enrolling the RFID badges, you would just want to ahead of time decide which protocol you're going to use, because you can't mix and match. Does the A1121 work with SIP? So Session Initiation Protocol, this is often used for integration with other AV systems and phone systems. This device does not support it because it does not have a SIP stream. Because it does not have audio video, SIP stream isn't really necessary. However, this device does support HTTPS calls. What does that mean? So an HTTPS call could be used to initiate a function on another third-party system. If you wanted, when you press a keypad pin code on the A1121, maybe you have a smart home control system that you wanted the lights to turn on, or you wanted some function to happen. An HTTPS call could execute that. So this device can do that. What is the maximum number of history events? As I alluded to earlier, it is 60 events for both RFID and keypad pin codes. And while I realize that isn't the most, you can use the weigand output, hopefully to log more if that's what you're interested in. And next question, how does the weigand interface work with the A1121? Weigand is one possible wired standard for card readers and access control systems, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And the A1121 can forward those entries and RFID swipes to a weigand interface. It's a wired connection off the back of the A1121. So also the nice thing about this little device is that you can have up to 40 of these on one DoorBird app. So if you were a property manager or the super of a large building, you can have up to 40 of these on the DoorBird app, and you can manage all of those, which is really nice. The other nice thing about this is that this device has an unlimited amount of users. So you got 500 PIN codes and 500 RFID fobs, and everyone could have the DoorBird app, and everyone could be connected to this. It's an unlimited amount, which is really cool. So a lot of different applications, a lot of different uses for this. A few things that came up last I spoke to Daniel was, you could use this as, if you're familiar with our IO controller, that 1081, you could use this almost like that device, but the fact that it can stand alone is beautiful. So this keypad and RFID reader are great functions, but they don't have to be public facing. They could be under a gate controller, like under the hood of a device, buried in the ground, in an IT closet. They don't have to be public facing. And you could use this just to get your relays connected to the DoorBird app and triggerable from the app only, which is, a functionality you might want for, tenants, multiple users, that type of thing, where you just want them only to have app access to a relay that is triggerable remotely. So it does that. Think about it. You have your low voltage relay control connected to the internet, and it doesn't have to be public facing. So that's another application of it as well. It comes in surface mount, flush mount, and retrofit. So whether you're going to mount this on a pedestal or on a wall, or recessed into a wall, and the retrofit version has like a wider lip on it, so you could actually kind of snug it into an existing panel, which is really cool. So that covers most of the features and functions I want to speak about this. It's going to be most commonly installed in a multi-tenant scenario where maybe you've got a pool gate, a garage, a bike closet, any auxiliary ins and outs where you just want a little bit extra security, a little bit extra control. This device is right at home doing that. And because it connects via Wi-Fi or hardwire, you have that flexibility in wiring. So really great device, really good for a lot of different applications. But probably the most important thing is that we have them in stock and we can ship them. We can get these to you in about 5 to 7 business days, depending on which CPSG branch you're going through and what their stock looks like. But at DoorBird, we have these ready to go as well. So that's the word on it. I'm willing to open it up to questions. We got a few more minutes. I hope I covered all the good and juicy details on this thing. So let's see.
You you did a great job there, Zach. And I really like that call out on that, what I call it, the smart hub, right? Where you can tuck this thing inside of a box and just use it for app control, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Or if you have an existing access panel on a property and you want to utilize their cards and they speak to your unit, you could do that. And while you're doing it, add app access to that site, right? With no monthly fee.
absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of good use cases for it. I mean, I could see a ton of them going residential, being tied in where we already have one on the driveway. We have the intercom and this goes on the ped gate, or maybe they don't really care for intercom. They just want to have, the latest and greatest in keypads where, we don't have to go out there and actually program the codes. I think I mentioned before where like a dealer could even sell this, keep the administration and charge a service fee for changing the codes and not actually show up to the site, right? Smarter, not harder. Type of approach. We did
Yeah.
have one question in the chat box. I think they were asking if it can call landlines. I'll let you speak to it, but I think you called it out here. It's not an intercom, right? This is really an access control keypad reader. But
Exactly. Yeah. The important thing to note here is there's no video and there is no audio. So therefore, we do not have a SIP or SIP stream available. So there is not an ability to call a landline. Yeah, not on this device. It can perform an HTTPS call, and there might be something there in terms of getting an alert somewhere else or some type of notification on a third-party system. But we do not advertise this as being able to call landlines or phone lines. No.
so I'll just ask the question in general. Your other devices, your intercoms, right? Can they call landlines?
So they have the ability to be integrated with a system that can. We typically would recommend a third-party SIP service or a SIP trunk to perform that. But our other intercoms, yes, they do have a SIP stream, and some of them can call directly to a voice over IP, so another network-based phone system. However, if it's a landline, like a true old school analog landline, you would need a third-party service in between the DoorBird and the landline. And if somebody's really interested in doing that, feel free to reach out to us and we can put you in touch with a service that can do that.
Yep. And you guys have top-notch service on the customer service side, right? The guys in the sales department and in the tech support. They will really guide you through those sort of things if you're not comfortable there. And I know you have a partner too you work with like a white glove service when it comes to SIP, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. There is a company that we recommend. It's AV-Link Pro, and they have a service. If you really want to call analog lines, it's essentially a hub, like a network hub that does the handshake between the digital signal of the DoorBird and the analog signal on the phone lines. But it's totally possible, and people do it, absolutely. The other thing is our D1812 is designed to work with existing DoorKing 1812s and keep those analog phone lines in place. So if you are really looking for a hybrid possibility, the DoorBird D1812 is the answer there.
Perfect. Yeah, so that was the only question we had in the chat there. So you nailed it there.
All right.
Yeah, no, I do. Like I said, we are really excited about this product. I mean, I was waiting for this one. I heard about it maybe a year and a half ago, right? And it finally came out, and I was extremely excited because it's been one of those things as people want to add this device, to the ped gate in a lot of our applications, right?
Right.
And the truth is, I love the fact that we can tie this in with the IO door controller. One of the use cases Matt called out that I was working with Matt and some, in-person trainings last week, and I never thought about is in a real secure environment, you could have this trigger the IO controller. The IO controller will not be on the public side, right? So there's no wires to jump if someone wants to break in. They could open up the keypad, but they're not getting through the gate because there's no way to actually get in unless you actually get over the gate.
That's what I tell people all the time is even if we're just talking about the IO controller on its own, that A1081 is a beautiful device for really a safe and secure install. Just gives you that peace of mind, if somebody really wants to break into these things, they can sometimes find a way. But by relocating those relays and still having them on the network, you still have all that scheduling, all that remote control. So this paired with an A1081 is really going to be an impenetrable setup. That I really love that use case as well.
Yeah, no, so Zach did come with the question, Mr. Eichenberger. He said, how many apps can it handle and what are the monthly fees?
Okay, so no monthly fees on this device. You purchase the device, you're getting full functionality right out of the box. You just have to download the free DoorBird app. So no fees, no monthly fees, no recurring charges with this unit. And then the first part of his question, what was that about the app? So technically there's an unlimited number of users that can connect to this thing. So typically when you think about DoorBird door stations, our normal product line, it's usually about 8 to 10 smartphones can connect to a single door station. This is unlimited. It's a much smaller data load. It's a much smaller load on the system. So it's an unlimited amount of users. Now, one user can have up to 40 A1121s on their app.
Okay. Yep. So I had someone, another one, it was more kind of a statement question. They said that when they add multiple users to a DoorBird device, and they're not talking about this one, it's more about your video intercoms. They say it gets extremely sluggish to the point where the camera won't load. And it's funny, I had a conversation with Matt about this last week. A lot of people make a habit of using the same user, and it's kind of the result I see if you don't create separate users. Typically what I do, and this I'll just speak from my experience and see if you have anything to add to it, is that I create separate users. And I don't know if that's what's happening if you have separate users when it's getting sluggish, but I do notice that if it gets that QR code, the QR codes that you get out of the box has an administrator code and it has a user code. I feel like that does happen if I continue to use that user on multiple devices. So I just make best practice of creating individual users up to 8, right? Because that's what I'm allowed on the video intercoms.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Always be in the habit of separate users. I realize there's one QR code on the paper, but you can create multiples in the app after that. You really only want to use that paper QR code for your first user to add the device. But yeah, you have to create multiple users, individual user accounts after that for best practice and best use, best performance. The other thing is, it's an IP product, so there's a lot of different possibilities, different other products that could be and equipment that could be throttling that data. There's just so many variables to those systems. If you are really having an issue, I would suggest contacting a tech support, either CPSG or DoorBird tech support, to have a closer look at it, because it could be something else.
Yep. No, good call out there. Good call out there. And like I said, I'll back it up. Their support is awesome. Those tech support guys really know what they're doing. They're just now we're bringing them into the gate world, so they're learning to speak a little bit different language, right, than their typical AV guy. But next question: can a single relay toggle and do momentary, or is it just like the other units where we have to either designate momentary or toggle?
Great question. So as of right now, the way the firmware and the app is developed, the relays have to be one or the other. So when you go into those system settings, the administration settings, you're going to program that relay to be either momentary or latching, or what we call toggle. And then, you'll name it accordingly and set each one to do its thing. But currently they cannot switch very easily from the user side on the home screen, at least not yet. That is something we are working on. But that's why we put 2 relays in here. So you can set one for momentary, you can set one for latching, and you have that ability. You label them accordingly in the home screen of the app, and hopefully that removes some of that confusion and gives you the functionality that you're looking for. One thing I do want to share that is coming, we have a new app update and firmware update coming, I think, in the next few months, that will allow for relay scheduling, kind of like relay automation. So that's a really exciting feature that's going to be rolled out soon as well.
Yeah, so a 7-day timer, which we have the ability currently to limit schedules right on codes. And the codes are really flexible. It's one of those things that we didn't get into too much detail, but you could have, end dates to codes, things like that. But they are going to throw a 7-day timer, essentially, right, for being able to hold the gate open, just automatic relay functionality. So yep. Lots of great stuff coming forward. And the D1812 is the one device currently where you can have a relay that is momentary via the keypad, but you can also hold via the app, right? If I'm party mode.
Right. It has the party mode.
Yep. So that's the one device in the line that currently has that ability to kind of have both on one relay. Is this unit Wi-Fi? Was the next question.
Yes. So this unit is Wi-Fi. It can also be hardwired via Cat5, Cat6 Ethernet cable. You could use this with our 2-wire PoE converter. So you can, in retrofit scenarios, if you don't have the ability to dig a trench or run new cable, you could use our A1071 2-wire converter. That'll send power and data up to 260 feet, 60 megabits a second. So Wi-Fi or hardwire, and you could also use a transformer to power this if you don't want to use power over Ethernet, or if you're using it on Wi-Fi, it includes the transformer in the box.
Perfect. And as with not pushing video, I'm a lot more comfortable on Wi-Fi, right, with this product than maybe pushing video, right? You don't need the same level of stability, although we want it to be stable. So, which leads to a question I'll ask: local memory, or do I need to be connected in order for this thing to work? So say Wi-Fi does drop out, are my cards and my codes stored on the unit?
They should still be able to trigger the relays. I will double check on that. Our other devices operate that way. So I'm confident this is the same, but I will confirm and follow up with you. We like to be able to always have that control should the internet drop out. As long as there's power, the keypad pin code, and the RFID to trigger the relays. I'm 99% on that. I will double check for you, Daniel.
Okay. Yeah, no, perfect. I almost make the assumption that it is because everything else is, right? But I like that you're going to confirm it there. So what you lose, if that is the case, what you would lose is app functionality, but you'd still have access to the property.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if there's it needs power, and this is power off, you can set that relay to be, safe or secure. But if the internet goes down, you should still be able to trigger the relay.
Awesome. Yeah, no, like I said, great job, Zach. Oh, confirmed, codes will work even without internet. There you go, Justin. Thank you. So
thanks, bud. Got my back.
You don't need to get back to us there. All right, awesome. Like I said, thanks, Zach, for coming on here doing this for us. I know this was kind of a quick hit. I don't think we could have stretched this one into an hour anyways, right? It's a simple device that delivers a lot of powerful functions, but you can knock that out, probably really would take 20 minutes worth of talking about the actual device and a few questions. Want to mention again that we are having the DoorBird promo online, 10% off. Reach out to your branch if you need the coupon code. It was also included in an email blast that we sent out. And it isn't just for this product. It's the whole DoorBird line, and it runs through the month of September. So just want to let everyone who's on here know about that. So if there's no other questions, we'll cut free. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me on today. Really looking forward to seeing these out in the world. So, follow up if you need anything, if you have any questions. CPSG is a great resource, and I appreciate you guys having me. All right. Thank you. All right. Take care.